Welcome to this run-through of Access Education budgets for Mult-Academy trusts, which is the most widely used budget forecast solution in the marketplace. You can launch through Access Workspace. Here we have Analytics. This pulls key information around KPIs across your Mult-Academy trust and to the DFE. You have around a dozen different KPIs, ranging from our average pupil-adult ratio to include things like adult teacher costs, staff costs as a percentage of your total income and revenue. We've averaged this out across your Mult-Academy trust and then broken it down on the right-hand side by the phase of education. So in this example, it's broken down by primary school, secondary school, and secondaries with sixth form. This is completely configurable. I can then look into the detail. So I might want to see the phase of primary and secondary education and drill down to see the by-school ratios. And I could start to look at that on a 5-year basis and by forecast to easily identify some trends or spikes in our KPIs. A great bit of central reporting for the Mult-Academy Trust is the ability to report out on the KPIs to the DFE. You can see that we also include things like our average spend on teacher staff costs and supply staff. You can control your budget across the Mult-Academy Trust centrally. Here, we will look specifically at central budgets from the 9-dot menu. Within central budgets, I'm able to control my pay scales, my inflation factors, and my profile templates across the Mult-Academy Trust. In this example, I'm going to make a change to a pay scale. I've got a whole host of examples here, including my teachers, our special educational needs staff, and our TLRs. And I'm going to have a look at our teacher pay scale. In this example, there's no London weighting. I can see some key information, including the inflation factor year on year. I can change that and the system will make an assumption to support my actions. It then breaks it down by the different scale groups. As standard, we include our lead practitioners, leadership, main, unqualified, and upper groups which you can edit. But should you, as a Mult-Academy Trust, want to instigate your own pay scale, you are able to do this by adding in a new scale group. I can add a new scale point to a main scale. I can update the inflation factors. But in this example, I'm actually just going to make a slight amendment and change our M1 point scale. This is now available and ready to be published across the rest of the schools in the Mult-Academy Trust. To action the change I've just made, I can go into my Publish control and I can see that this one is waiting to be published. I can then add the version number, any details, and publish it out across the trust. When I go into Access Education budgets at the school level, I can see that there is a mandatory update available. You can change inflation factors based on income and expenditure. You can then group them by different section codes that are set by the ESFA. Within our profile templates, you can set the parameters. Is it an equal 12th budget? Is it an annual in advance? Is it quarter in advance? Quarter in arrears? You can build all of these across your trust. The process of setting a budget is on a per school basis. So we can choose between the different establishments within my Mult-Academy Trust and then within the different budget per site. So if I want to have a look at the Access Tech College budget for February 2023, I can load this up. And it brings me to my main budget dashboard where I see an overview of what's happening in the budgets, the increment expenditure position, and what this means for our cumulative brought forward balances. I can see here that we're starting on a very healthy surplus. But if we continue doing what we're doing now, we're going to end up in a deficit. We can have a look at pupil and teacher costs, the impact of those costs, and staff analysis across the board. The process of setting a budget is really straightforward. We work through the solution and we set things like our pupil numbers that feed through to the budget. We then set our gag income at a school level. This is just a case of working through the elements to make sure they reflect our position and our total marries up to our gag income. Alongside that, we have our gagnon gag income. So that's anything that you raise internally, whether that be through school lettings or charity donations, grants, uniform sales, gym hire, etc. We also have our other expenditure, so anything that you spend on things like your premises rates, stationery costs, electricity, grass, maintenance, cleaning, you're able to build all of these in here. One key area of the system is our staffing area. This is where we're able to have a look at our different members of staff. We can see yearly and monthly totals, so how much a member of staff is costing per year and per month. Our example here is Robert Jones. We can see that they're a teacher main scale 5, this is their cost per year. And we can see that value going up because behind all of these, we've gone from a main 5 up to a main 6. We also have our pension built in and any allowances. If you wanted to add in an SEN or a TLR allowance, we can do that here. Once we've created the budget, we can take a look at some of the things behind the scenes that we may want to control. Access will control our pay-related factors. So monitoring and maintaining things like our superannuation rates, our SMP weekly pays, SSP weekly pays. Schools can impact their pay scales as well as inflation factors controlled at the Mult-Academy Trust level. So what does our reporting look like? Firstly, our Academy's budget forecast report, which we're able to export out to Excel. As well as a number of reports in here, including an income and expenditure detailed report, an income expenditure profile report, our GAG income report, the ESFA reports, as well as our pupil and staff reports, some supply staff, staff monthly profiles, and payroll reconciliation reports across the board. For a Mult-Academy Trust, we are also interested in some of our consolidated reports. On this tab on the left-hand side, I can go and see our consolidated reports. I can select which schools I want to report on. And when we do that, we can see some different reports. So, financial reports, all the reports that we can see at school level are also available at a consolidated MAT level. For example, our income and expenditure detailed reports, you're able to see a consolidated group budget report across all of our schools. We can also see some consolidated standard income and expenditure reports. We produced the Academy's budget forecast return across the Mult-Academy Trust, which is a huge time saver. You're able to export that out to Excel. And then finally, through to some of our staffing reports where we're able to see our staff teaching detailed reports, as well as things like our teaching cost report and support staff detailed report. And that's a high-level overview of Access Education budgets for Mult-Academy Trusts. If you have any questions or you'd like to know more, please contact us, access.education@theaccessgroup.com.